Thank you. I feel like some slime or some confetti should be falling down over here.
Welcome to Experience Points, presented by our friends at Avtex who transform customer experience through CX design and orchestration. On Experience Points, contestants earn points by answering customer experience questions and share their insights on how to make your interactions remarkable. Those points turn into dollars for the charity of their choosing. I'm Joey Coleman.
And I'm Dan Gingiss, and we'd love to introduce you to today's contestant.
He is the VP of CX Implementation at R.R. Donnelley, the world's 7th largest marketing solutions company, where he is responsible for the strategy and execution of CX initiatives at Fortune 500 companies. In May of last year, he was also named a top CX expert of the decade and is also listed among the top 150 CX influencers globally. He is the man, the myth, the legend, and all-around great guy, Dennis Wakabayashi. Welcome to Experience Points.
Thank you very much, Dan and Joey. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm excited for today's game.
All right, Dennis, you're playing for a very special organization today. Can you tell us who you're playing for and why did you choose this particular organization?
Well, thank you guys. I'm playing for the Children's Diabetes Foundation. My older sister is very active in the Children's Diabetes Foundation. We had a younger sister who passed away from children's diabetes. I have a cousin that has diabetes also, and it's just such an important cause because I think when it affects children, and we just want to solve that as fast as possible, and it's a cause that's near and dear to our hearts.
Oh, well, understandably so, Dennis. It's a cause that's going to be near and dear to our hearts as well as we watch you play Think Fast.
In Think Fast, you will have 1 minute to answer 5 experience questions. For each question, you must quickly choose between 2 possible answers. Correct answers given before time runs out are worth 100 points. 5 correct answers will earn you 500 bonus points for a possible score of 1,000 points.
Are you ready to get started, Dennis?
I'm ready.
All right, Dennis, let's play Think Fast. Now, today, all of the questions are going to come from a new report out from Drift and Customer Gauge called The State of B2B Buyer and Customer Experience, How Businesses Are Adapting and Excelling in the Experience Economy. All right, Joey, give us 60 seconds on the clock. Dennis, question number 1, what channel do more B2B buyers use? Is it contact forms or chat?
Contact forms.
Question 2, how quickly do most sales teams follow up on a lead? Is it under 30 minutes or more than 24 hours?
More than 24 hours.
Question 3, how do most businesses define the completion of onboarding? Is it all tools and users are set up, or ROI or first value recognized?
I would say all tools and users are set up.
Question number 4, what percentage of respondents use relationship surveys at least once per year? Is it 38% or 56%?
I would say 56%.
And finally, question number 5, what percentage of respondents don't know the ROI of their CX program? Is it 30% or 50%?
50%.
Whoa, that was fast, Dennis. Some fantastic answers there. Let's see how you did. When we asked what channel do more B2B buyers use, contact forms or chat, you said contact forms, and you were correct. 1 for 1, getting it done. I like it, Dennis.
All
Let's go
right.
to this question. How quickly do most sales teams follow up on a lead? Under 30 minutes or more than 24 hours? You said more than 24 hours. And sadly for us, but happily for you, you were correct. It was more than 24 hours. Unbelievable in this day and age. Unbelievable. All right, we next asked, how do most businesses define the completion of onboarding? All the tools and the users are set up, or that first value recognized ROI? You said all tools and users are set up, and And you were correct. Indeed, that is the answer most people gave as how they define completing onboarding. Next, we asked what percentage of respondents use relationship surveys at least once per year? 38% or 56%? You said 56%.
I'm an optimist.
And you were correct!
Yes, right.
56% at least once a year ask their customers how they feel about the relationship. All right, Dennis, I don't know about you. I'm a little anxious. You are 4 for 4. If you get this next question correct, you trigger the bonus and double your points. We asked what percentage of respondents don't know the ROI of their CX programs. 30% or 50%, but in the end you went with 50%. And Dennis, you were correct! 5 for 5, 100% accurate. Woo!
So let's talk about what we learned from this study. We know that customer experience starts before someone even becomes a customer, and that onboarding is so critical. We talked about that when we talked about installing Windows and how that can go wrong. Talk to us about what you've experienced in terms of this process of even the experience before the experience.
You know, that is a fantastic observation and question for your audience. In the case of the Windows, but in all cases, and I love that you positioned it as an onboarding question, because onboarding to what end? And when I think about onboarding, I think about onboarding on to lifetime value. So there's this beginning funnel, top of the funnel consideration, purchase. But then once a customer engages with the company, and then when we see the first monetary relationship, the ROI or some measure, and then what do we do with that information? Because that's where lifetime value becomes important. We try to work with that. Can we create more return on investment for the customer as well as for the business? And when we ask ourselves those questions, we begin to have other experiences that might be a birthday card that goes out, or a survey to see how the windows are doing later, or an extended warranty just because. Any of these other continuing conversations that happen after the sale actually are the predecessors to the next sale in the customer lifetime value series. So I think about every aspect of any touch point with any human as the potential start of a lifetime relationship.
Oh, Dennis, so true. You know, this idea of focusing on the lifetime value of the relationship is something that is often talked about, yet we see a lot of behaviors from organizations that seem that that's not really their end goal. And that question you correctly answered about when do most businesses think that the onboarding is complete, when they answer, well, all the tools and the users are set up, that's obviously very driven by their perspective of when onboarding is done, as opposed to the customer's perspective of getting that ROI and getting that value. You know, this survey and this report really focused on B2B experiences. And we hear a lot of people in the marketplace talking about the stark difference between B2C and B2C, or business to consumer versus business to business sales. Why is it, do you think, that so many B2B organizations feel less personal in their interactions with their customers? At least that's what the survey results show, and I think that's probably what our personal experiences show as well.
Wow, wow, these are really deep questions. I think we're seeing a shift, particularly during COVID, where customers and brands are starting to create direct relationships, where I think we'll talk about, let's say, retail. Retail manufacturers going to retail, or manufacturers going to retail channels to get to customers creates a natural barrier to get to the customer. I think we're starting to see a trend where retailers are being more transparent about the data that they share with the manufacturers and with the customers. I think we have a new entrant into the category. Now we have employee experiences, customer experiences, and now we have this thing called ownership experience, which ties the brand to the customer. So to answer your question, yes, it feels impersonal. Many times it's because you're talking about logistics and operations to serve customer groups or segments in B2B. And so the conversation from a business point of view just isn't centered on the customer. But I do think we see more customer-centric conversations being driven into the B2B space. So while I feel as though it feels a little less personal, that tide is changing quickly.
All right, Joey, let's see how Dennis did playing Think Fast.
Well, Dan, in this game, correct answers are worth 100 points. And Dennis answered all 5 questions correctly, which means he earned 500 points. Now, when you get all 5 questions correct, you trigger the super bonus and earn another 500 points. These points convert into dollars, which means Dennis earned a $1,000 donation to the Children's Diabetes Foundation. What an impressive performance. Congratulations, Dennis.
Thank you. I feel like some slime or some confetti should be falling down over here.
This concludes another episode of Experience Points. Check out more games with Dennis and our other celebrity contestants at experiencepointsgame.com. That URL again is experiencepointsgame.com. Tune in next time for more examples of remarkable customer experience here on Experience Points, brought to you by Avtex.
56% of the people, don't necessarily know the ROI story behind their CX work. I was expecting it to be a lot more.
What have you seen from our customers?
I was thinking that the numbers should have been closer to 75%. So I was excited to hear that. The other thing that tells me is, though, you still have a large portion of your team members, a large portion of folks that are working internally or serving those who serve customers, like we talked just briefly about, who really don't understand how the organization is measuring the customer experience. And so it's hard for them to contribute meaningfully if you don't know how it's being measured. The old saying that says, inspect what you expect. And so, making those measures more broadly known, I think will do a lot to improve, the overall delivery and orchestration of the customer experience.